Hello, welcome. In this video, we are going to learn how animals get oxygen. Let's begin. So let's start with a question. All fish breathe underwater. Is this a fact or a misconception? What do you think? Is it A, a fact? Or B, is it a misconception that all fish breathe underwater? What do you think? Now, if you chose B, you are correct because it is a misconception. Some fish can breathe air. Example is the lungfish. The lungfish can stay on the land and it can live without water for 4 years. Now, we are going to look at different ways that animals have evolved to breathe so that they can survive in their environment. Now, animals have different ways to get oxygen, but they are also similar. They have different ways to get oxygen, but they are also similar. How are they similar? All the respiratory system or organs in animals are similar because number one, they have thin cells. The cells are very thin so that oxygen and carbon dioxide can exchange easily. Number two, the respiratory organs or systems are moist or wet. This is also to help oxygen and carbon dioxide to exchange easily. They exchange easily when the organs are wet. They have large surface area. This is surface area. And this will help to get more oxygen into the body and more carbon dioxide out of the body. And number four is respiratory organs or systems have blood vessels. So let's continue. We're going to look at examples of animals that can breathe through their skins. Can you name an animal that can breathe through their skins? The first example we're going to look at is earthworm. Earthworms have moist skins, and oxygen in the air can move into the blood, and carbon dioxide in the blood can move into the air. The next examples are flatworms. Just like earthworms, flatworms have moist skins. The oxygen in the air or in the water, sometimes they are in the water, can move into the body, and carbon dioxide in the body can move out into the air or into the water. Next example is hydra. Hydra live in water and they can exchange gas through their skins. They have two layers of skins, an inner layer and an outer layer. The outer layer will exchange gas with the water around the hydra, and the inner layer will exchange gas with the water which is inside the hydra. The next example are sea stars. How do they exchange gas? How do they get oxygen and give out carbon dioxide? They can do it in three ways. First, they can use their tube feet. They have many legs or feet that can exchange gas when they are in the water. Oxygen from the water will move into the tube feet and carbon dioxide will move out. They can also use their skin gills, these black structures here on their skin to exchange gas. And the last one, they can use the papillae. These red structures can also exchange gas. Next, we're going to talk about animals that breathe by filtering water. Can you think about examples? The first example we're going to talk about are sponges. How do sponges get oxygen and give out carbon dioxide? Sponges can pump water from the outside into their bodies, and when the water is inside their bodies, they will pump the water out through a very big hole, which we call as osculum. The cells on the inside of the sponge's body will absorb oxygen from the water and give out carbon dioxide. And this is how sponges get oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. They pump the water into their body and then out. They can absorb the oxygen. Example number 2 are bivalves. This is a picture of a bivalve. If you open it up, you're going to see these structures. Which structure help it to breathe or get oxygen? And that is the gills. This is the gills right here. Now, how does the gill help it to get oxygen? There are 2 holes in the body. One hole here is going to pump the water into the body. You can see the arrows. And the water will go over the gills, and the gills can exchange gas to absorb oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. And the water will go out of the body from the second hole. And this is how they get oxygen. The next organism is the fish. How do fish exchange gas? They use their gills. If you zoom into a gill, you're going to see this. It is made up of gill arch and gill filaments. If you zoom into the gill filament, you're going to see blood vessels and lamella. The blood and the water move in opposite direction. The blood and the water move in opposite direction, and this is called counter-current exchange in opposite direction. Now, why is this important? Why do fish use counter-current exchange? Now, the oxygen in the water move from water to the blood because of one thing: the difference in concentration. Okay, this is that in Thai. There is more oxygen in the water than in the blood, so the oxygen will move from high concentration area to low concentration area. There is a difference in concentration of oxygen. If the concentration is the same, the oxygen cannot move from the water to the blood. Again, if the concentration of oxygen in the water and the blood are the same, the oxygen will stop moving. Now, countercurrent exchange helps fish to absorb more oxygen from the water. Example: if the blood and the water flow in the same direction, what will happen? We can see in this picture that the blood and the water will have the same concentration of oxygen very, very fast. The oxygen will move because they're moving in the same direction. Oxygen will move to the blood. After a short time, the blood and the water will have the same concentration. so oxygen will stop moving. What about if they move in opposite direction, the countercurrent exchange? Here we can see that the concentration of oxygen in the water and the blood are never the same. So oxygen can keep going into the blood, from the water to the blood, from the water to the blood. And this helps fish to absorb more oxygen from the water. Because of countercurrent exchange, many fishes can survive in low oxygen environment. Example, in muddy waters or in the ocean floor. Now, let's talk about the next group of animals, the animals that can breathe on land. Can you think about examples? The first example we're going to look at are spiders. Spiders can exchange gas with a structure we call book lung. Book lung. If you can see in this picture, there are two of them, one on this side and one on this side, book lungs. If you zoom into a book lung, you're going to see this structure. It's made, it looks like the pages in a book and helps to exchange gas. Just like fish, the blood and the air flow in opposite direction. It's a countercurrent exchange so that spiders can absorb more oxygen from the air. The next example are insects. How do insects exchange gas? On the side of the body, this side of the body, there are small holes which we call spiracles. Spiracle. So this is one spiracle here. So the air is going to move in the spiracle and it will move into the trachea, which is just a tube. And from the trachea, it will move to a smaller tube, which is called tracheal. And from the tracheal, it will go to the body cells. Carbon dioxide will also move from the body cells to the tracheals, from the tracheal to the trachea, and from the trachea to the spiracle and out of the body. And this is how insects exchange gas. The next example are birds. How do birds exchange gas? First, birds have lungs and air sacs. Lungs are used for gas exchange, and the air sacs are little bags that keep the air for a short time. This helps the bird to fly and stay in the air. Now, let's look at how birds breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. So, example, this green circle will be the air. In the first breathe in or inhalation, the air will go into the air sac at the back of the body, which is called the posterior air sac. This is the first breathe in. In the first breathe out, the air is going to move from the posterior air sac to the lungs. This is where we have gas exchange. In the second breathe in, the air is going to move from the lungs to the anterior air sac or the air sac near the head. And in the second breathe out, the air is going to be pushed out of the body. So birds are different from you. You breathe in one time and breathe out one time. They have two breathe ins and two breathe outs. Now, why is this important? Because the air coming in and the air going out do not mix. And this will help the bird to get more oxygen. Okay? The air going in, going out do not mix in the lungs. so they can absorb more oxygen. And birds also, just like fish and spiders, they have countercurrent exchange so that they can absorb more oxygen from the air. Now, birds have very efficient respiratory system. Their respiratory systems are better than humans because birds can fly very high in the sky where the oxygen is very low, but they can survive. But humans cannot go to very high mountains without oxygen bag or oxygen tank. You can see in this picture, this is some people on Mount Everest, and they're wearing the masks to get oxygen. If you don't take oxygen, you're going to die because there is less oxygen when you go up, and our respiratory system cannot absorb all the oxygen. Now, what have we learned today? We've learned different animals and how they get oxygen. Example, using their gills, spiracles, and book lungs. Now, there is a worksheet for you to do. I have sent in the Google Classroom. Please do this and print it and give to me in school next week. This part of your worksheet, read carefully, and you have to use a unique animal. Okay, your answer should be different from your friends. It cannot be the same. Read, translate if you need some help, and I hope this is helpful. Thank you very much, and see you in class. Goodbye.